All right, guys. So, welcome to the Real Food Challenge for 2021. So, I just wanted to make this video to kind of make sure everybody's clear on everything, and also let you guys know that if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out and ask me, so you can get some clarification, especially before we start. So, there's a quote on this packet here, and it says, "A simple plan, goal, or habit that you can do every day beats an awesome plan, goal, or habit that you can't do consistently." So with this challenge, we're not doing it whole 30, and the reason is it's really hard to do that consistently, and it's hard to maintain that for the long term. So what we're going to do is we've made it so that if you do cheat, you're not out of the challenge. You just lose points for that day, and your points reset the following day, and you can pick up and get back on the wagon again moving forward. And that way you can kind of learn how to cheat when it's acceptable for yourself to cheat, and make the decision as to whether or not it's worth it without feeling like cheating is going to make it so you're just completely eliminated from the challenge altogether. So what we're doing is basically you're eating meat, fruit, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, and that is pretty much it. So you're going to have to be really, really diligent about reading your food labels. If pretty much anytime you pick up a packaged food, you're going to need to flip it over and look at the ingredients list, not the nutrition facts table, but the actual ingredients list, and read through it and make sure that there's not anything unapproved in that ingredient list. If there is, then it is not allowed on the challenge. And if you do decide to eat it, no matter how small of an amount of the unapproved food you have, it would still be considered a cheat. So you would need to mark that off in your food journal spreadsheet. And I would say that is the most challenging part of this challenge, but it is called a challenge for a reason, and it will hopefully build some awareness as to how many packaged foods have not very wholesome ingredients in it. So our challenge begins on Monday, the 22nd, and it ends 4 weeks later on March 21st at midnight. We don't have a buy-in fee. You are required to keep a journal of all the things you eat, and that will be done on the spreadsheet that I will send out here with this email. I will also try to attach another video on how to use that spreadsheet. So you're journaling your food, you're logging it all. There's a spot for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and any snacks that you have. You need to fill that out on a daily basis. Just you filling it out, whether you cheated or not, is going to be worth 1 point a day. So it will be to your benefit to make sure you continue to fill this out on a daily basis. You can't go back, if you forgot to do it a few days, you can't go back and fill it out after the fact and get those points. You have to do it the day of. I want you to take before and after pictures. They can just be done in the mirror. You can keep them on your phone. You don't have to share them. And I also want you to take your weight. That needs to be done by Monday. And each of those things, the weight and the photos, is going to be worth 3 points apiece. So 6 points total in the beginning. And again, at the end, it'll be worth another 6 points to take your after pictures and your weight. So please make sure you do that. It's super easy to do. It takes like 20 seconds. So I think you guys should be able to get that done. The format of this is you're going to have 10 food points a day. And if you cheat, you're going to mark the cheat box and it will take 5 points away. If you cheat a second time, you will mark the second box and it will take all of your 10 points away. You can't go negative. So if you do happen to cheat more than 2 times, then you would just be at 0 still. And the way the cheats work is every serving counts as a cheat. So if you have a pizza, for example, and you eat 1 piece, that is 1 cheat. If you have a second piece, that is 2 cheats. So keep that in mind when you go out to eat, or if you're thinking about, or if you're tempted to have some foods that are not approved in this. And you also need a partner. So on the spreadsheet, there's a list of all the people that are doing this, as well as their email addresses. So if you do not have a partner, try to find someone on that list that you can email, and maybe you guys could connect and be partners for this challenge. If you need help doing that, I am more than happy to do that. I can reach out for you and partner you guys up. So let's get into the unapproved foods. You can't have sugar of any kind. And so when you look at the ingredient labels, it's not going to just necessarily say sugar. You will often find, brown sugar, cane juice, cane syrup, powdered sugar, maltodextrin, and so on. So it might be beneficial for you to look up all the different names that sugar goes by. And with this label reading stuff, you are going to want to avoid things that if you don't know what they are. So if you see a word on there you don't know what it is, you can either Google it or just avoid it altogether just in case. So no sugar. Alcohol, you can have 1 glass of red wine per day, and it's a 6-ounce glass, so it's a decent sized glass of wine there, but you can't save them up and just have all 7 at the end of the week. No grains, so wheat, rye, barley, oats, corn, rice, etc. No legumes, so that would be beans of any kind, as well as peanuts. Peanuts are actually a legume as well. No dairy, so eggs are not dairy, but anything that's a milk product from a cow, so your coconut milk, almond milk, that stuff is fine. But again, most of that stuff comes packaged with sugar, so that's why you're going to want to look at the ingredients. You can get the unsweetened stuff if it's almond milk. If it just has almonds and water, you're good to go. No MSG or sulfites. I don't know how to say this other word, carrageenan. Can't have that. MSG is often labeled as monosodium glutamate. They don't write MSG typically. You cannot have gum. You cannot have vegetable oils. So that would be canola, corn, peanut, sunflower, safflower, cottonseed, or sesame oils. I'm sure there's several more out there, but you're not allowed to have vegetable oils. We'll get to the approved oils here in just a second. And then French fries from a restaurant. So those are off limits here because, first of all, they're almost definitely cooked in one of the unapproved oils or fried in it. So they're loaded with the vegetable oils, and they usually have some kind of flour coating on it. So those are off limits. You can make your own French fries though. So if you want to do some potatoes baked in your oven with some oil or something like that that is approved, you are welcome to make your own French fries. So what can you eat? You can eat any meat, so any meat from any animal, wild game from the store, whatever you want to do. Vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds. The fresh stuff is obviously okay. If it comes packaged, again, you have to look at the ingredients because there's likely going to be something in there that you cannot have. You can have ghee. You can have the certain legumes, green beans, snap peas. They're more vegetables than a legume. You can have vinegars as long as they don't have sugar added into it. Coconut aminos are okay. And then there are certain sweeteners that you can have as well, such as honey, maple syrup, stevia, monk fruit, coconut sugar actually. So if you are needing to bake something, coconut sugar would be allowed. Approved oils would be coconut, avocado, olive oils, and animal fats and lard. And then you can have fruit and fruit juice. So with the allowed stuff, if it has approved ingredients, then you are good to eat it. For example, there are potato chips at the store that have potatoes, coconut oil or avocado oil, and salt. So you can eat that. There's some sodas that are sweetened with stevia and natural flavors. You can go ahead and have those. You can bake things that are made with approved ingredients. However, with that being said, you do have to be careful because if you're just baking some paleo brownies, for example, and you're eating a tray of those every day, you're probably not going to feel too great. You're probably not going to get the results you want. So you do need to be careful with those. The reason that we're allowing this stuff is because we want this to be something that you can do more long-term, longer than 4 weeks. And being able to incorporate some of that stuff, those treats and snacks, and be able to use them in your everyday life as maybe a substitute to the Coca-Cola or Dr. Pepper that you would usually have. Maybe you have a Zevia instead, or if you're used to buying Doritos, if you can find some good healthy alternative chips. That just makes it a little bit more manageable and more sustainable for the long term. But again, you do have to be careful with that stuff. I also have some tips in here. I'd like you guys to read over that in the packet that was sent out in my original email. And then if fat loss is your main goal, then you're gonna want to try your best to limit the number of carbohydrates that you have down to maybe 150 or 100 grams per day. You don't need to get too picky about it. If you can just kind of keep a mental track in your head of how many you're having, make mental note, that can typically help you with fat loss if you are able to limit that number down. If you're used to eating a lot of carbs every day, you might notice that you feel low on energy with this style of eating, just because carbohydrates are generally a little bit harder to come by. If that happens, just know that that's normal, and it will probably last a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then your body gets used to it, and you'll get all of your energy back and you'll start feeling better. So if you guys can, I will post a video also, or message you guys a video of the spreadsheet and how I want you guys to use that. So if you could watch that as well, that would be awesome. Good luck, guys, and again, please, if you have any questions, please reach out to me, and I will get them answered to the best of my ability, hopefully before we get started.